Wrote some stuff down here. When you feel negative, all it is a state of being within yourself. There's no reality behind it. Who you really are is an unconditioned awareness. And when the unconditioned awareness becomes aware of something, it enters into that state. You can remain in the state that wallows and feels sorry for itself, or you can dare to assume a greater state. The question is not whether it works, it's have you tried it? People will assume a state, then give up and say, it doesn't work. Well, what are you going to do now? You are assuming a state it does not work. It's the most simple and basic thing. Believe that you have received. Believe it is done. Take on its reality and solidify its state within. So basically, it's the most simplest basic thing that you can ever know, and that is that reality and human beings are just in a state of energy, in a state of being. Who you really are, who everybody really is, who this universe is based on, is this unconditional awareness. Basically, the empty space, the nothingness. This is what this universe is held up by, the absolute nothingness. This nothingness then becomes aware of being something. So we became aware of being a human being, right? That's who we became aware of. Hence why we are human beings. And at a very, very, very deep level, we became aware of this thing. So much to the point that we forgot who we really are, which is an unconditional awareness. Something that you can't intellectually grasp. It's something that you have to just allow to happen. You have to get meditative to understand that you're just being aware, and your awareness has no conditions. It doesn't need anything. That you yourself is complete and you don't need anything. In the Bible it says, the kingdom of heaven is within, and everything else be added onto it, or some shit like that. Seek first the kingdom, and everything else be added onto you. There we go. Seek first the kingdom, and everything else be added onto you. The kingdom of heaven is basically the unconditioned awareness within yourself, and nothing can add on to it, or nothing can take away from it. Anything, it just can be added onto it. But who you really are is just a perfect and whole piece of energy, in a non-physical way. It's just the completeness of life. There's nothing that it needs, and you have a sense of what it's like, because when you're a baby or you're a kid, when you see how free it is, that's just the surface. You know, you're not really able to understand it because you're not aware, but that's closer to it than your adult who's so identified with all the shit that he created in his head. I'm a businessman, I'm a father, I'm a friend, I'm all blah blah blah, instead of just being pure, you know? And I guess there's levels to it, because a kid doesn't really understand what's going on, but it's there. That's why we gravitate towards dogs and kids and stuff like that, because they have this unconditional awareness. That's why they're so bright and they're so joyful, because they don't have that much bullshit in their head. And then, you know, the job of the adult, they feel like they need to place all this shit in their head, because they see this pure motherfucker and like, let's place some shit in his head. Anyways, we're rambling about something else. But the main thing is that it's the most basic thing. You basically get yourself into an unconditioned awareness state of being, where you feel whole and you feel open, and there's no thoughts or energetic patterns really going on. It's just really just stillness. And in that stillness, then you become aware of being something. No matter what it is you want, become aware of it. If you want to be a multimillionaire with a nice house, like, go into detail. If you want to be a multimillionaire with a nice house, with a family, with enough money to travel and do everything, and have time throughout the day to have fun in whatever passions you want, if you just say that out and you feel it, that is a state of being. Now, you can feel it. That's an easy thing. you can feel what it's like to be that thing in your imagination. And if you pay attention, you're already feeling what it's like to be whatever it is you're being right now. So instead of feeling what it's like to be what you are right now, feel what it's like to be what you want to be, and feel its reality. Don't worry about whether or not it's possible or not. That's not the issue. The thing is to, have you tried it? Have you tried to remain in the state of being of what you want for long periods of time in a nice, relaxed, and blissful way? Have you tried it before? Or have you just been carrying on your life in an unconscious way, allowing your mental faculties to do its own thing, allowing your awareness to go wherever it wants? Or have you tried to take control of the wheel of who you are? It's just like driving a steering wheel. The human being is a complex machine that no one has ever really drove the steering wheel. The people who have drove the steering wheel of the human being are successful, probably happy, probably blissful, probably living a much better life than the person who has not controlled the steering wheel. Because if you don't control the steering wheel, you can end up in a ditch, you can end up in a puddle, you can end up with the car getting broken down. The car getting broken down is your sadness, your sickness, your backache, your feeling of worthlessness, whatever it is. Now, the car moving efficiently is your feelings of joy, your feelings of bliss, arriving at destinations that you've really cared for. Now, there is no destination, but you can keep creating infinite great things if you just remain in an infinite great state. Because no matter what happens on the outside, you remain in this great state, and life is just great. So, not to say that you will never experience some sort of sadness or loss, but if you understand that the kingdom of heaven is within you, and that whatever you're aware of is what you're going to generate. So if you become aware of sadness, then you will generate sadness. Then you can really have the ability to completely transform yourself from a very sad state to a very happy state within a matter of 10 minutes. Just sit down, get to a still state, do some breathing techniques, and then place a certain awareness of an identity within there, and then you completely transform yourself in just a matter of 10 minutes. It's not that hard. Even an hour. Isn't it beautiful that you can experience something completely different within an hour? And it not only just an hour, but it really lasts for a good duration of the day. The problem is, you're driving the car and you want to go to point B. You start at point A, you want to go to point B. You're driving the car, you're going to point B, you're making a steady move, but then you get occupied by like point Z over there, and you just fall asleep on the wheel and the mind goes to point Z. It's not an efficient thing. That's essentially what happens. So the goal is, write down on a page of the ideal of the life that you want to live. Get its reality. Really write it out in vividness of what you want to experience in life. And then once you've wrote it out and you've really detailed the life that you want to live, get yourself into a meditative state where the mind is still, the body is still, the breath is subtle. And then once you get to that level, then you place the things that you wrote down. You grab its sensation, you play with it, you see what it's like, what it feels like. Then when you get an idea of what it feels like, you basically grow that feeling within yourself. It might start small, but then you just gain its reality, and its reality, and you make it become real and real and realer, to the point where the outside world is gone. Who you knew your life to be is gone, and all you know is this new state. And you basically sit and relish in that state to the point where it could be a subtle thing, or it could be explosive. Now, explosive is obviously more powerful. So if you get it to an explosive level, that's a great thing, especially if you can keep that explosiveness for days on end. Or you can keep it subtle, but you can keep its reality real. And you can just keep that consistently, and it will change shit too. So yeah, that's basically it.